So here I am presenting a short lecture or video on Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So this uncertainty principle is a consequence of quantum mechanics which becomes very much significant if we work in the atomic scale or in the microscopic scale. And let's see what it says. It says that the position and momentum of a particle cannot be measured simultaneously and accurately. So simultaneously means at the same instant of time, and accurately means with arbitrary precision. So if I restate it, it means that the position and momentum of a particle cannot be measured at the same instant of time with arbitrary precision. And now one question must comes into your mind: is it that we cannot measure it? Is it that do we have any? Is this a technological issue, or we do not have such good device? Because of that we are not able to measure the position and momentum simultaneously with arbitrary precision. The answer is no. So right now you can believe me, later I'll show you after a few minutes that it's a fundamental property or the inherent feature of a particle in that which becomes very much visible in that scale, and mathematically we express by this equation where you can see the uncertainty in the position and the uncertainty in the momentum is product becomes bounded by this h bar by 2, where h bar is the reduced Planck constant. And so this is the lowest value of this product is h bar by 2, and else it must be greater than that one. So that's the bound it creates, because of which we cannot achieve delta x and delta p. Both of them go, because of that delta x and delta p doesn't go to 0 at the same instant of time, because it is bounded by this value. And we'll show that it is not because of any measurement issue, it is the property or the inherent feature of the particle in which becomes very visible in that scale. So now if I take a little bit closer look, we can see few more things. Suppose the momentum uncertainty is given. We know the momentum uncertainty of a particle is delta p. Then I know what is the minimum uncertainty in the position, which is this one, because the minimum product can be h bar by 2. So the minimum uncertainty in position turns out to be this. Now if the given uncertainty in the momentum is arbitrarily large, that is, it goes to infinity, because we consider the momentum of the particle is not at all well defined, it's very ill defined, it has all kinds of momentum. As a result, the momentum in uncertainty tends to infinity. In that case, the position of the particles becomes very much defined. It's pretty much localized, it's very well defined, and as a consequence we can see that delta x tends to 0. Also, if I check the reverse one, if the position of a particle is ill defined, that is the particle is like the position of the particle not at all, it is not localized, it's like spread over all over the place, then the momentum becomes very well defined. So individually we can achieve delta x or delta p tends to 0. That is, individually this delta x position or momentum of a particle can be very much well defined, but at the cost of the other one must be ill defined. Means whenever delta x, whenever the position becomes pretty much well defined, the momentum will be ill defined. There is no certain or specific momentum associated with that particle as well. Or whenever the momentum is very much well defined, if the particle is a definite momentum, then the position of the particle becomes it's not well defined. The position can be anything, it can be spread over a huge space. So if I combine these two statements, then individually we can achieve or measure the position or momentum with arbitrary precision, but we cannot measure them simultaneously. Now how we can determine delta x and delta p? Means from that we can only know that which one is 0 or which one is infinity. How to determine that for a physical system? So delta x is actually a standard deviation. The standard deviation should be with respect to some probability. So this, the delta x is the standard deviation with respect to position probability distribution, this px, standard deviation of this of px. What is px? Px gives the possibility of or probability of finding a particle at any given x, and that is given from the Bond rule that is connected to this quantity which we know as the wave function. And the wave function contains all the information about this particle or this object. And similarly, the delta p is also the standard deviation of this probability distribution, a momentum probability distribution, which is connected to the momentum wave function. So therefore it is just this uncertainty is nothing but the standard deviation of these two probability distributions. If we have these two probability distributions, we can check that what is delta x and delta p, just taking the standard deviation of those probability distributions. And this probability distribution is nothing but the wave function s of this particle in the position space and the momentum space, and which is the actual which contains all the information about the particle, which contains all the features of that particle. So it is very clear that whatever the result of delta x or delta p, it has nothing to do with the measurement device, because the measurement device is not at all in this picture. We are calculating delta x or delta p directly from the wave function. So, and wave function is the entire feature or the characteristics of the particle. So it becomes little bit clear that the uncertainty bound, this one, is not coming from the measurement. So it is coming from the nature of the particle, and the nature of the particle is actually given by this wave function. So now we will take few examples, and I will show I'll take few examples and I'll show what are the delta x and delta p for those examples and how to calculate them and what it means. And I'll try to show this in what situation we can achieve this delta x tends to 0 and delta p tends to infinity, and the reverse one also, delta x tends to infinity and delta p tends to 0. So we'll take few examples and I will try to show that. So let's move on to so this is our first example. So this is a wave function is delta. It means the position of the particle is pretty much localized. It's at a, only one possible value, and the corresponding momentum wave function we can figure out from this one. If I know the position, then I need to take this Fourier transformation, which is a very fantastic thing, although I can't explain in this video, which is itself a very interesting stuff. But if you are interested, you can look at any optics book or any other based on Fourier series expansion or Fourier transformation. It's a fantastic thing. And this position wave function, momentum wave function are actually related by the Fourier transformation. So if I just solve this integral limit is running from minus infinity to plus infinity. Sorry, I didn't put this one here. And then I'll get the momentum wave function. This is the momentum wave function. Now, if I plot the probability distribution for these two. So for position, it is very clear. It's a delta. So it peaked at only the probability of finding the particle will peak around a particular value. That means the position is very well defined here. That is, delta x will go to 0. On the other hand, here if I take the mod square, then it will be a constant, which is like a constant means a constant. So that is if I plot the position, so we plot the momentum probability, it's a flat line. It means it doesn't have any specific momentum value. It can have all possible momentum. The particle has all possible momentums. And as a consequence, if I look at the width of this, means I can roughly you can visualize the standard deviation. Standard deviation is the width of this probability distribution. This is a very rough approximation. Is the kind of width, and this here the width is infinity. So this is one extreme that we talked in the last slide. So, and how to realize it, which is actually a point source. So in optics, in case of optics, I can tell you if if I have a point source which is emitting photons, then let's take an LED. Suppose if I have an LED of very small size, you can have this LED, I guess, very small size LED means, and you can see that if you keep that LED in a dark room, you can see that it spreads over all the directions. So what it means actually, whenever suppose if you have a point which is emitting photons, then it will emit photons in all the directions. As a result, you can see the spread of light along all the directions. So whenever if we squeeze something in the position, means whenever we localize the particle in the position, like if the photon, since here the photon has a very well defined position, since it's a point source, it can come out of a particular point, then it will spread over entire direction. That is, it has all the possible momentum. That's why it spreads over the entire direction. That's why if you take an LED, which is quite very small, as a result you can see it spreads over all the room, right. So that's the thing. Now although like you can only assume it as a perfect point source if the size of the LED is of the order of the size of the wavelength, but it's just a rough example such that you can get some idea about it, and which makes it very clear that here it has nothing to do with the measurement device. It's just a property of this wave function, which is a feature of the particle. So it's just a wave function. You take that wave function, you can see whenever the wave function gives a very localized when the wave function of the particle in the position becomes very localized, as a consequence you can see the momentum becomes spread over. The momentum has a huge spread, that is, the momentum becomes very ill defined. And let's go to the other example, which is this one, plane wave. I hope you know a little bit about plane wave. And now if I look at the plane wave version in the momentum basis, which becomes a delta, that means it has a, if a particle has this wave function in position, if a particle, then it has a very well defined momentum. And now if I look at the position distribution, which is a flat one like the earlier momentum, is a flat one, as a consequence, as a result, we find that the width or the uncertainty in the position is infinite almost, which means the particle can be at any location. And here the momentum is it's a delta p0, so momentum is very well defined. It has a very certain or a specific momentum value. The particle has a very specific momentum or a specific direction. So as a result, the momentum is going to 0. The uncertainty in momentum is going to 0. And now the question is like how to realize it. It's very simple. You have read in the ray optics. So if I put a point source, the back focal plane of a lens, sorry, I should level it, lens, and I should give it, there's a f distance between them, which is the focal length. So now if I have a point source, this is the point source, and if I keep at the back focal plane of an infinitely large lens, then as you can see, it produces a very collimated beam that we see in the classical optics. And now this is the point source which is emitting like 1 by 1 photon, and if I keep at the back focal plane of a lens, then I will see the photon after the lens will have a very specific direction, or has only one direction, that is a very certain momentum, has only one momentum. As a result, it has no momentum uncertainty, there is no spread, it has a very specific momentum value, but it can have it doesn't have anything, it has a very specific direction. As a consequence, the uncertainty or the spread, the photon can be at any location in the space. It can be at any location. Everything is like equally probable. Similarly, if I just move this point source from here to here, then the direction of the photon that will come out after the lens will be with some momentum p1, which is something different from p0. So here I'm trying to say that initially, so here just I'm trying to say that depending on where I put my point at the back focal plane, depending on that, the direction or the momentum that will decide the momentum of the particle after the lens, the momentum of the photon here after the lens. And as you can see, after the lens, the momentum becomes pretty much well defined, but the position can be like very much ill defined. It can be at any location over the entire space, which is like just like a collimated beam. As a collimated beam, as you can see, is very fixed. It's like a flat intensity. Flat intensity means, if I think from the photon perspective, it means flat intensity means that the position of the photon is equally probable at all the location. So these are the two examples, but unfortunately these examples are pretty much abstract. I mean, in reality, there is nothing called a point source because everything is a finite dimension, and there is nothing a perfect plane wave. For a perfect plane wave, we require a point source with a lens whose diameter is infinite. So there is nothing infinite in this real world. Everything is finite. So it has a finite diameter. As a result, we cannot produce a perfect plane wave. Neither we can produce a perfect point source. But we can, in labs, people can produce approximately. So now I will take an example which is more realistic than this two. And in these two examples, these are the like two extreme examples where in one case we can achieve position. In one example we have a very certain position, in another example we have a very certain momentum. So we'll do something like I'll take an example which is more realistic, but which is not these two extremes. But if I little bit, but that example is so much flexible, we can actually able to reach these limits. So my next example is a Gaussian wave function. Actually, Gaussian wave function. So this is the wave function, which is actually the Gaussian distribution. That's why I'm calling it Gaussian wave function. So this is the wave function in the position space, and this is the wave function in the momentum space. And this is the probability distribution. So as you can see, that took this mod square there, that the 4 becomes 2. Now we need to look at what are the standard deviations of these two distributions, which gives the delta x and delta p. So the standard deviation you can calculate by the conventional way, but since it's a Gaussian distribution, which is a very standard form, and it's very easy to, so from here whatever the coefficient of this, if you look at the standard Gaussian distribution, whatever this coefficient of this 2 is actually the standard deviation square. So here it's omega square, so standard deviation is omega, and here it is like coefficient of 2 is h bar square. Now omega should come down, so h bar square by omega square, so this one. And as you can see, so interesting point is that is the width here is omega and the width here is 1 by omega, proportional to 1 by omega. So whenever the distribution in p in position is pretty much narrow, automatically the distribution in momentum becomes pretty wide, and whenever omega becomes pretty large, because it means the distribution in in position becomes pretty much wide, the distribution in momentum becomes automatically narrow. So this is the property of this wave function that I am just trying to emphasize here. This is a property of the wave function which is causing this thing. So property of the wave function, I mean that is a feature of this particle, or the feature of the particle, nothing to do with the measurement accuracy and anything like that, which is directly coming from this wave function, which is actually containing the feature of the particle. So now if I take a product which is h bar, so this is this thing, and this is a very realistic wave function. And after this slide I will show a kind of animation kind of stuff where I will just plot this px and pp for different values of omega, so that we can see, so that I can demonstrate it, that we can start from a very narrow probability distribution in position, which is like a point source in my earlier slide, and then if I just make it broader and broader, when omega is pretty large, as you can see, this is like a plane wave. When omega is pretty large, it will become a plane wave. It's like almost constant probability distribution. Here omega is too large, it will become a delta function kind of thing. So that's the thing I will try to demonstrate in the next I'll just plot this two side by side and just run it in real time, so that you can see that. So that I will show after this slide. But so how can you just realize it? So this is actually the ground state wave function of a harmonic oscillator. When you will read harmonic oscillator, when you will solve the harmonic potential, as you can see, it's the ground state wave function of a 1D harmonic oscillator, as well as this is the wave function of a fundamental mode of the laser. Suppose I have a laser which is emitting 1 by 1 photon in its fundamental mode, then whatever the position wave function of the photon, that will be a Gaussian. So as you can, or you can imagine, as you can see, a laser produces a very nice circular spot. So if you just if you just attenuate the intensity of the laser such that it is sending 1 by 1 photon, and if you measure the probability distribution, it will be a Gaussian. That's the thing. So now I'll show that just kind of video where I'll plot this. So it's just a small MATLAB code for plotting this momentum and position distribution. So I'll just run it, and as you can see, this is the omega, and for the previous omega, as you can see, it's a very sharp distribution in position. Now as the omega is increasing, this omega value in millimeter which is increasing, the position distribution becomes very wide and the momentum distribution is just squeezing, so which is just increasing. And as you can see, when the position distribution becomes pretty much wide, this momentum distribution is squeezing. And the whole point of is to emphasize the fact that whenever we try to measure the position, whenever we achieve a very well-defined position, the momentum automatically becomes ill-defined, and vice versa, and which is like very clear from this plotting. So initially we have a very sharp distribution here and a very flat distribution here. Now the very flat distribution here and it's becoming quite sharper here in momentum. So that's the whole point. And now it is actually going towards plane wave limit. And here, just for convenience, I took that instead of p, I use p by h bar as a scale, just for convenience. It has nothing to do with the fundamental characteristics. It will not affect that one, just for convenient scaling. And this is the omega, which keeps increasing. As it keeps increasing, it's the position wave function becomes broader and broader. Almost it reaches the plane wave limit. As a consequence, the momentum wave function becomes narrower. So that's the point. So if you like this demonstration or like this video, please share and subscribe.